You know the sound. That particular rising pitch, that particular tone that bypasses every rational thought and goes straight to the part of your brain that makes you want to do anything at all to make it stop. I want it, but why? That's not fair. You have tried ignoring it. You have tried giving in just this once. You have tried the calm voice and the firm voice and the I will not speak to you while you're using that tone, and the negotiation and the explanation and the bribery and the just take the thing, please, I can't anymore.
And it keeps happening because none of those responses are addressing what is actually going on. Japanese children whine significantly less than children in almost any other culture. Not because they want less, not because they feel less, because Japan teaches one specific thing, starting at age 2, that most Western parents have never thought to teach at all. Today, I'm walking you through 8 things Japan does differently about whining, and I want you to stay for 2 things specifically. Number 5, which is the one that surprises every parent who hears it, and number 7, which is the one that will feel impossible at first, and then, suddenly, completely obvious. Let's go. Before we get into the 8 points, I want to give you the frame that makes all of them make sense. In Japan, whining is not treated as bad behavior. It is treated as failed communication.
A child who whines is not a manipulative child or a spoiled child. A child who whines is a child who wants something and does not yet have the language or the confidence to ask for it in a way that works. Whining is the gap between the need and the tool. Japanese culture has a concept called amai, the deep, secure attachment between a child and a parent, where the child trusts that their needs will be seen and responded to. When amai is strong, children feel safe to make clear, direct requests. When amai is weak, or when requests have been repeatedly ignored or met with unpredictable responses, children resort to whining because it is the only tool that seems to work. Whining is almost never about what the child is whining for. It is almost always about whether the child believes you can hear them when they communicate normally. Japan builds the belief. That is where we start. Waiting for the child to whine, then responding to or correcting the whine. Treating communication as something to react to rather than something to build. Japanese parents teach request language explicitly from the earliest age, not in a formal lesson, in the ordinary moments of every day. If you want something, you can say, onegai shimasu, please. You can say, hoshi, I want. You can say, tetsudatte kudasai, can you help me please? These phrases are practiced in calm moments, modeled by the parent constantly, and praised specifically when the child uses them. Not praised with theatrical enthusiasm, quietly noted. You asked me properly. I heard you. The child who has specific language for wanting something does not need to whine. The whine is the sound of a child who wants something and has no other tool. Japan gives them the tool before they need to reach for the whine. Start today. Pick one clear request phrase and teach it this week in a calm moment. Practice it like a game, not a correction. Let's practice asking for things properly. If you want the biscuit, try, can I please have the biscuit? Simple. Repeated. Praised when used. Responding, even with a no to the whine. Every time the whine gets a response, it gets reinforced. Even a negative response is still a response. Japanese parents do something that sounds simple and is actually one of the hardest things in parenting. They do not respond to the whining voice. At all. Not with a yes. Not with a no. Not with an explanation. Not with a correction. They wait. Calmly. Without anger. Without sighing. Without the exasperated look. Simply present and unavailable. Until the child shifts into their normal speaking voice. The moment the child uses a normal tone, even halfway through the sentence, the parent responds immediately, warmly, fully. Yes, I heard you. Let me see. This is operant conditioning applied with extraordinary consistency. The normal voice gets response. The whining voice gets nothing. Not punishment. Nothing. Over weeks and months, the child's brain learns precisely which tool opens the door. Start today. You can only do this if you have told the child in advance, calmly, not in the middle of a whining episode, what the rule is. When you use your asking voice, I will always listen. When you use your whining voice, I will wait. Then hold it, consistently. The first week is hard. The second week is different. Now, the next point is one I almost left out of this video because it sounds too obvious, but every parent I have shared it with has said the same thing. Why did nobody tell me this before? Stay with me.
But a pan tracks what researchers call the whining window, the times of day when a child is most likely to whine. And Japanese parents know, without having to study it, what creates this window. Hunger, tiredness, overstimulation, transitions between activities, the 20 minutes before dinner, the hour after school, the Saturday afternoon that has gone on too long with no quiet. Whining in these windows is not manipulation. It is a dysregulated nervous system finding the only outlet available. Japanese parents manage the environment before managing the behavior. They feed before the hunger becomes distress. They rest before the tiredness becomes chaos. They transition with warning and with ritual, not abruptly. They protect the windows where whining lives, not because they are soft, but because they understand that a child whose basic needs are met rarely needs to whine about anything else. Start today. Map your child's whining. When does it happen? What comes before it? Almost always a pattern emerges. Address the pattern, not the whine. Feed before the hunger window. Rest before the fatigue window. The whining reduces before you have said a single word about it.
No, I already said no. Stop asking. A no that dismisses both the behavior and the want simultaneously. Japanese parents make a distinction that changes everything about how a no lands. They separate the acknowledgement of the want from the answer about the want. The want is always heard. The answer to the want may be no. I can hear that you really want that. And the answer today is no. Not because the want is wrong, but because the answer is no. When a child's want is acknowledged before the no arrives, something fundamental changes in their nervous system. They are not fighting to be heard anymore. They have been heard. The no is still the no, but it lands in a different place. It lands in a child who feels understood, not dismissed. And a child who feels understood has far less reason to escalate. Research on toddler compliance consistently shows that children comply faster and more consistently with a refusal that acknowledges their desire than with a refusal that ignores it. The acknowledgement is not giving in. It is the thing that makes not giving in work. Start today. Before your next no, say, I know you really want that. 2 seconds. Then, and the answer is no. Same outcome, different landing. Try it once and watch what changes. Holding the no for 3 minutes and then giving in because the whining is unbearable. Every single time this happens, the whining is trained to last exactly as long as it needs to in order to break the parent. This is the point I told you to stay for. The research on whining is unambiguous on one thing. Intermittent reinforcement is the most powerful reinforcer of behavior that exists. It is the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. You do not know which attempt will succeed, so you try again, and again, and again. When a parent holds the no for 3 minutes and then breaks, the whining did not fail. The whining worked on attempt 17. And the child's brain stores that information. 17 attempts is what it takes with this parent. Next time, they will try at least 17 times.
Every time you give in to whining, you are not ending this episode. You are writing the script for the next one. The no that you hold is training. The no that you break is also training. Japan holds the no, and because Japan holds it consistently, the whining does not need to go very far before the child's brain learns it is not the tool that opens this door. Start today. Decide before the whining starts what your no means. A no that becomes a maybe is not a no, and your child knows it within weeks of arriving in the world. If you are not sure you can hold a no, do not say no yet. Buy time with, let me think about it. But once the no is said, hold it. Every time you do, the next episode is shorter. Every time you don't, the next episode is longer. We are more than halfway through, and what I am about to tell you in point 6 is the one thing nobody expects, because it is not about the child at all. It is about something you say to yourself. Stay with me for 2 more minutes. This one is not a technique. It is a shift in how Japanese parents understand the moment they are in.
When a Japanese parent hears their child whine, the internal narration is not, they are manipulating me, or why won't they just stop, or I am failing at this. The narration is, my child has a need they cannot express properly yet. My job right now is to stay calm and help them find the better tool. That reframe changes everything about how the parent's body responds to the sound of whining. Instead of threat, which produces either fight, shouting, or flight, giving in, the parent experiences something closer to curiosity. What do they actually need? What tool are they missing? How can I stay steady right now? The parent's internal narrative determines their nervous system response. Their nervous system response determines the child's next move. If the parent escalates, the child escalates. If the parent stays curious and steady, the window closes faster every time. Start today. Next time the whining starts, try saying this to yourself before you say anything out loud. My child is trying to communicate something and missing the tool. One sentence. It will change your body before it changes anything else.
ジャパニーズペアレンツは子供に物を言い方することを教えるだけではありません。それを自分たちで示します。常にパートナーと、お店の人と、近所の人と。お茶を一杯飲みたいですが、それは可能でしょうか？静かな時間が20分必要です。解決できますか？オーバーワープでちょっと手伝ってもらいたいです。クリアで、直接的で、演技なく、マニピュレーションなく。相手に普通に聞いたら聞いてくれないと思うから、あなたに不快な思いをさせて対応してもらう、そういう工程帳ではありません。子供が親が自ら明確に頼んでいる、そしてその頼みが叶えられるのを見に何かを学びます。明確に頼めばうまくいく。普通の声で解決する。自分を小さくしたり、大声を出したり、かわいそうに見せたりしなくてもちゃんと聞いてもらえる。あなたが明確に頼まないと子供に明確に頼ませることはできません。子供の個人個人に取り組む時間は子供自体に関わることではありません。最後に残したいことです。
Whining is not a character flaw in your child or in you. It is a communication strategy that developed because somewhere along the way, normal requests were not reliably heard. And if normal requests were not reliably heard, the child's brain, brilliantly, adaptively, found a tone that was harder to ignore. Your child is not trying to make your life difficult. They are trying to make themselves heard. Japan builds children who believe from the earliest age that clear asking works, that the people around them are paying attention, that you do not need to perform or escalate to be responded to. That belief, once built, does not need to be maintained with rules or consequences. It maintains itself, because a child who trusts that their voice is heard does not need to find a louder one. The whining stops not when you get better at ignoring it. It stops when your child stops needing it. And your child stops needing it when they believe, really believe, that you hear them when they ask normally. That belief is what you are building. Every consistent response, every calm no, every returned request, every practice in the quiet moment after the storm. You are already doing it.
Before you go, which of these 8 do you want to try first? Drop the number in the comments. I read every single one, and I think your answer might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if the video on what Japanese parents never do when their child is crying resonated with you, this is its companion. Same philosophy, same calm, completely different situation. It's right up there.